Over a year ago, we saw the product of a cool project by Pimax, which involved a big headset boasting an impressive resolution, removable lenses, big price tags to match, and even the potential to be standalone. Oh yeah, and that Switch handheld thing they showed was there as well. But that's not what I'm looking at right now.
Not gonna lie, that is... Oh,
they ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
At the time, Pimax kind of impressed me with the potential for another hit with the PCVR audience, and the comparison to the Vario Aero helped me understand that target audience just a little better.
Today, however, a year later, we see what the Pimax Crystal really has become. And I am not that impressed anymore. The VR headset market has been moving along rapidly. Hell, the Vario Aero had an insane price cut for a while, and now is off the shelf. And for what it's worth, the Pimax Crystal is the only one left in its segment that it was built for. And that kind of saddens me. Because why is this the only headset left over for someone wanting to take the next step in VR simulation gaming?
When Freek and I visited the cozy little office space filled with expensive hardware, we were excited to see more love given to the state of the VR market with their new take on high-resolution head-mounted displays. The idea of a headset going for pure visuals while competing with others in its price class that are kind of trying to do the same for a lot more was a mission not too impossible for me to understand initially. Why wouldn't you chase the highest resolution and clarity, taking jabs at the Vario Aero and Reverb G2? Any enthusiast would love to see their favorite VR titles in the highest resolution, making them stare down their controllers to look at those juicy details on the gloves in Half-Life Alyx. But along the way, up until these days, I think things kept going slightly off schedule, because the product of their plans ended up in this. And I am somewhat let down by where they are now with this absolute unit of a head-mounted display holding machine.
As with the Roadshow experience, the actual displays and clarity of the lenses really isn't too bad to put your eyes in front of. With a resolution as high as that of the Crystal, details do really pop, and the contrast isn't holding it back as dark scenes are shown exactly the way they're supposed to be. Heck, even the removable lenses idea worked out in practice, as they did alter the removal method to add some screws for secure fitment. The audio as well was quite alright. I've used both the normal audio solution, which crunches and tears up a lot when you get into like higher volume sounds, but sounds pretty alright, and the HD audio thingy, which looks like the Index headphones, but don't sound like the Index headphones, and they are better, but they're not much to call home about. The overall head strap design did hold the behemoth of a box on my forehead, though if you do have a smaller head, discomfort might be a huge thing for you, as my girlfriend quickly found out. Overall then, the Pimax Crystal does deliver high-end visuals, and it is a VR headset with accompanying software to match, giving it its respective slice of the cake in terms of high-end VR hardware. Sadly for Pimax though, they're a little late, and sadly for us, they're still not done.
As much as this headset has some great features, the overall feeling that it left me with after having strained my neck with the lump of machinery is the feeling of not knowing where it tries to fit in. We can give you all the PCVR you want, eye tracking, fancy electric IPD adjustments. We also have standalone. Oh yeah, and we also have new lenses. Pimax just really wants to hook into every new development there is. Each addition to the bag of features feels kind of half-arsed, and the standalone mode in my opinion is not even worth looking at with the awful visuals, the rushed UI, and no library to back it up. Not to mention, when I connect my €1,600 headset to a PC to enjoy all of the cool features displays and optics have to offer for me, I don't want the headset itself to still rely on a battery to function. Granted, they give you a power adapter to put a band-aid on the issue by extending the battery life, but it doesn't take away the fact this could all have been prevented and done differently if the focus was put on a target audience and not try to reach the entirety of the VR market. An enthusiast looking for this kind of resolution and clarity probably doesn't need to run the headset standalone. I can't be the only one thinking that they could have just focused on the visuals and FOV to achieve better and better results while making the price more and more justifiable, if not lower.
This isn't even my biggest gripe with the headset. Now that we have looked at the things that it actually is good at and the other things which it should have never even started implementing, we can widen the scope a little and look at the overall picture of what the headset falls in. Now that the Vario Aero isn't a thing anymore, and Windows Mixed Reality is kind of expelling their last breath, ending the life of the things like the Reverb G2, there really isn't much choice left in that segment anymore. Say you were in the market to upgrade your PCVR experience, and you don't want to spend 4+ grand on a Vario XR4, or you don't want to dabble in the lower tier stuff like the Quest lineup, then there isn't much left out there for you to choose from. What Pimax should be really happy about is the fact that they occupy a space that not a lot of other headset manufacturers tailor their headsets for. For instance, the simulation VR gaming community is a loving community, always open to expanding and improving their experiences, and they don't necessarily flinch at a $2,000 headset if it gets them what they pay for. So why Pimax? Just tell me why right now. Do you not just focus in on that aspect of the community and build the best headset for them, and instead make glitchy software, broken promises, and work on features that no one really asked for?
Look, I cannot speak for everyone in the VR niche, but oh my, am I a fan of doing something right, even if it is just for that one purpose you made it for. I don't need a standalone mode if I am looking for a PC VR headset. I don't want batteries in the back of my strap if I want to sit down and fly in DCS without any hassle. I don't need 5 gazillion pixels per degree if the field of view could just be a little larger. And I do not want any of those features and specs if they all add up to a bulky, heavy, and primitive feeling box of displays. Not everything is terrible though, and VR arcades could be a point of interest for Pimax to use these headsets on. A quick and dirty setup for a consumer to experience something that the specialist at the arcade has already set up for them could be the way to go for primitive feeling boxes like this one. But for the average user base, it just isn't a good example of peak VR hardware.
I personally cannot wait for options to open up in the PC VR side of things, like the Somnium VR1 headset or Valve's next best thing if that ever comes to fruition. I just wanted to make this video to show you that the Pimax Crystal isn't the current state of VR. It is not where I want to be heading towards in the future, and it is not what I want to see if I spent 2,000 euros on an upgrade from my usual VR days. This is Pimax trying to dip their toes in multiple places in the market, grabbing buzzwords and promoting things that just sound nice, all to make a sort of jack of all trades, but master of absolutely none kind of headset. And this time around, I am not going to be supporting them by joining the ride.